News 9 is everywhere. This is News 9 Tonight.
Really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Breaking news this evening, an attempted assassination on former President Donald Trump this afternoon at a rally in Butler County, Pennsylvania. Thank you for joining us on News 9 Tonight. I'm Jessica Riley.
And I'm Bill Steinbach. Our coverage begins tonight in Butler County, where News 9's Addison Albert joins us live after speaking with some eyewitness accounts of what they saw happening earlier this afternoon. Addison, good evening.
Good evening. We're standing right off of Evans City Road, which is right across from the Butler Farm Show grounds, where shots were fired at an earlier rally held by former President Donald Trump this evening. Now, take a look at your screen where you can see the action that happened at this rally this evening, and we'll fill you in on what we know as of right now. Now, former President Donald Trump was wounded in the upper right ear, and he was taken to Butler Memorial Hospital. Blood was coming down on his face as he was exiting the stage with Secret Service, but he was speaking and raising his arms and presumed to be okay, and has already taken to social media at this point. What else we know is that the gunman was on top of the AGR building at the grounds, and he is also dead at this point, along with an attendee who was wounded by the gunshots, and another attendee is injured at this time. Now, we also spoke with a few attendees to learn more about what they saw at the rally earlier this evening.
Well, we were standing on the chairs watching President Trump speak, and I saw him go down, but I also was hearing shots that sounded like fireworks. And by 4 or 5 of them, I realized it was a shooting. So I got down, and I told people around me to get down.
Like a normal gunshot, but it was like a pop, 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 pop. But it was scary stuff. And then at one point, they were able to get the president and get him to his feet. He gave a fist pump to the crowd as he exited down off the stage. And I think everyone was in complete shock of what just happened.
And many political figures, including President Biden, have come out condemning the violence that happened here in Butler County, Pennsylvania. And make sure you stay with us on air and online. Now, those pops that you hear right now are fireworks actually happening in the background. I see them from my point of view. Again, the pops in the background that you just heard were fireworks going off in this area. Now, this is being investigated as an attempted assassination on former President Donald Trump. So we will keep you updated as we learn more information. For now, reporting in Butler County, Pennsylvania, Addison Albert, News 9.
Thank you, Addison. And former President Donald Trump's presidential campaign confirms he will be attending the GOP convention in Milwaukee next week.
National correspondent Kayla Gaskins joins us from Capitol Hill with what we know about the developing situation.
Donald Trump releasing a statement in the hours after the attack, saying he was shot by a bullet that pierced his upper ear. He also thanked the Secret Service for their action and gave condolences to the rally attendee who died. Trump's campaign confirmed the former president is fine and that he was checked out at a local medical facility. A political rally turned into a crime scene.
This is a big crowd. This is a big, beautiful crowd.
As the former president spoke to his supporters in Butler, Pennsylvania Saturday, gunshots ripped through the air. Donald Trump seen reaching for his ear before dropping to the ground. Secret Service immediately rushing the stage to surround him. Screams heard in the crowd. Go. After a few tense moments, the former president on his feet, blood spattered across his cheek and ear. Trump giving a fist bump as Secret Service whisked him away to the hospital. The Associated Press reporting the shooter is dead, along with one rally attendee. President Biden spoke to Trump following the shooting and earlier condemned the violence.
There's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick.
Republican House Majority Leader Steve Scalise was shot in 2017 by a left-wing activist. On Saturday, Scalise writing, "For weeks, Democrat leaders have been fueling ludicrous hysteria that Donald Trump winning re-election would be the end of democracy in America. Clearly, we've seen far-left lunatics act on violent rhetoric in the past. This incendiary rhetoric must stop. We spoke with a Trump supporter who was 6 rows from the stage.
Just a sad day for America. Just a really sad day for America. The vibe was, it was open with prayer. People were united. This is America. This is freedom, regardless of your politics.
This rally was supposed to be a celebratory moment for Trump heading into the GOP convention in Milwaukee that starts Monday. The convention will no doubt have a very different feel with tighter security now on tap in the wake of Saturday's shooting. In Washington, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
Local Steubenville Fire Department Captain Dave Sullivan and Assistant Chief Chris Tkach traveled to the rally earlier today, witnessing the violence that occurred. News 9 spoke to the captain over the phone on what occurred in Butler County.
There was a crane off to my right, and one of the bullets must have hit one of the hydraulic lines and started spraying hydraulic fluid all over the place. And then I heard another shot and another shot, and they were ricocheting off the bleachers where we were next to where we were standing. So we knew at that time that there was, that shots were being fired. So we pretty much hit the deck, and we tried to, everybody around us just kind of hit the deck.
And former President Donald Trump posted this message on his Truth Social account at 8:42 this evening, saying in part, quote, "I want to thank the United States Secret Service and all of law enforcement for their rapid response on the shooting that just took place in Butler, Pennsylvania. Most importantly, I want to extend my condolences to the family of the person at the rally who was killed and also to the family of another person that was badly injured. Much bleeding took place, so I realized then what was happening. God bless America," end quote.
In West Virginia, Governor Jim Justice released a statement saying, quote, "All of my prayers go out to President Trump and his family. We should draw strength from his courage. I refuse to let these actions make me feel afraid." Also making a statement is Ohio State Senator Sherrod Brown, saying, quote, "Connie and I are relieved that President Trump is safe and are praying for the health and safety of all those attending the rally in Butler, Pennsylvania tonight. And for our country, we are grateful to the law enforcement who responded immediately. Political violence is completely unacceptable and has no place in our democracy," end quote.
And here's what some local leaders here in the Ohio Valley are saying about the shots fired incident that occurred earlier this evening.
It's a very sad day for America when someone believes that violence is the answer in politics. As Americans, we can do much better, and we have consistently done better through the years. It's been quite a while since there was an assassination attempt on a president.
Whether you like Donald Trump or you don't like Donald Trump, that this is not an acceptable action on anyone's part, and I don't care if they're Republican or Democrat. That's not for someone to take that type of action.
Always people that seek to harm the freest nation on earth, and these tragedies are heartbreaking. And like I said, I'm grateful that the president is okay, and just so heartbroken that there's innocent people that are not, and just lifting them in prayer.
Right now we are taking a live look outside through the lens of our tower cam.
And for the first look at the forecast, we'll hand things over to meteorologist